Do you ever wonder how pro woodworkers achieve perfectly square cuts? Well, you're in luck. Today I'm going to show you how to build 3 variations of shooting boards. Once you add these simple jigs to your arsenal, your work will be cleaner, more accurate, and look pro level. Let's dive in. This first shooting board is built to give you perfect 90-degree cuts. This is what the pros use to produce those projects that absolutely wow us and make us think, how do I achieve that level of detail in my own shop? I use mine mostly on end grain, but not exclusively. It works great to join edge grain on smaller pieces and get flawless panels as well. It's a simple build and you only need 4 parts: a larger bottom panel, a smaller upper panel, a bench hook, and a block to establish your 90-degree reference. I'm using 3/4 inch Baltic birch plywood for the panels and bench hook, and Purple Heart for the 90-degree block. Baltic birch is incredibly stable, which makes it ideal for jig building. And according to the Janka hardness scale, Purple Heart is a very hard, durable wood. Plus it's the best option I already had on hand in the shop. So the first thing we're going to do is cut our parts. Grab a plywood panel and cut it to 18 inches wide. Keep the saw at this setting and cut another piece at 18 inches wide. This way you know they're the exact same size, which is going to help later on with the glue up. Take one of those panels and cut it to 12 inches long. Then take your second panel and cut it to 10 inches long. So now you should have 2 3/4 inch thick panels, one that is 12 by 18 inches and one that is 10 by 18 inches. I'm using panels that started off at 20 inches by 20 inches, so when I cut that first panel at 18 inches, I know the offcut was 2 inches wide. I'm going to take that and cut it at 12 inches, so now I have a 12 by 2 inch piece that I'm going to use for my hook. That leaves the last piece to cut, which is our block. I'm first going to square up this piece on my jointer and planer to ensure it's perfectly square. Then I'm going to use my crosscut sled at the table saw to cut it at 12 1/8 inch long. Be precise with your cut here and make sure you have that 1/8 of an inch extra over 12 inches. So, quick update. Earlier on I told you to cut your block at 12 1/8 inch, but I made a mistake. You're attaching it to the top panel, which is only 10 inches wide. So you want to cut your block at 10 inches wide. All right? My bad. Take your 10 by 18 inch panel and glue it on top of your 12 by 18 inch panel. Leave a 2 inch runway that's going to serve as your track for your plane later on. The glue is going to hold this just fine, but sometimes the glue can make the boards slide on each other and they can be hard to clamp where you want them. To get around this, throw a couple of brad nails in the corners to keep the panels from moving. Put that aside and let it dry for at least an hour. Take your bench hook and countersink 4 holes in it. I'm OCD, so I'm going to draw out a quick center line to keep the countersunk holes in line, but this is definitely not a necessary step. Secure your bench hook to the side with your 12 by 18 inch panel. I'm going to use wood glue and CA glue to act as clamps, and then finally secure it with number 10 1 1/4 inch screws. Take your 10 inch block and put 4 countersunk holes in it. Measure 2 inches from the back of the panel and mark a line. We'll go over why we set it 2 inches from the back in a little bit. Use a combination of wood glue and CA glue when securing the block. Then secure it with your screws. Use a square here to ensure that you're securing the block perfectly square to the runway. So now you can test your shooting board for accuracy. A few notes. I like to have my block set 2 inches from the back, because if your block is directly on the back like this, you're going to be tensing up in anticipation of the plane sliding off the back of the runway. So when you set it a few inches back, it eliminates that problem and lets you take a more natural stroke with your plane blade. Since I'm going to be using mine mostly to cut end grain, I'm going to use my low-angle jack plane with this shooting board. If you find yourself cutting more edge grain, you could go with a 5.5 plane. Now when I want to creep up on a perfect cut, I can use a handsaw or power saw to make my initial cut slightly back from my line. Then place it on my shooting board and take off shavings until I'm perfectly on my line. I'm left with a clean cut and absolutely no saw marks. To maximize the benefit of my shooting board and cash in on the most valuable feature, which is eliminating tear out, I'm going to implement this important first step every time I use it. I'm going to take my board and I'm going to flip it over so the back edge is now the front edge. I'm going to place a spacer between the board and the guide block. Then I'm going to take a few shavings off that front corner until I get to my line. I'm going to flip the board back over and then remove the rest of my shavings of end grain until I get to my line. Because you initially cut back the wood fibers on that trailing edge, they won't tear out and you'll get perfect clean cuts. And speaking of clean cuts, this next shooting board we're going to talk about is going to give you those clean cuts anytime you're using miters. Before we get into jig number 2, I want to ask if you're getting any value from this video. I would greatly appreciate you hitting the like and subscribe buttons and adding a comment to the discussion. I'm a small channel and it's active engagement like this that lets YouTube know this video is worth watching. I really appreciate the support, guys. Shooting board number 2 is built using the same exact dimensions as the first shooting board, but instead of a 90-degree block, we're using a 45-degree block. So go ahead and cut your bench hook along with the large and small panels to the same dimensions as before, and then we'll focus on making the 45-degree fence. I toyed with the idea of creating the second and third boards as attachments that could be swapped out on your main 90-degree board. But in the end, these work best when they're as stable as possible, and it's hard to get that with an attachment. So I decided to go with the dedicated boards. The materials cost to make one of these is only $10, so I wasn't too concerned about cost. If you are worried about that though, and you do want to make only one board instead of 3, check out 3x3 Workshop or Jonathan Katz's Moses channels. They both have good videos on systems on how to do that. The next step is gluing the small panel to the bottom panel. Again, this is the same process as the first shooting board. Use wood glue to secure the smaller panel to the larger one. Pin it with some brad nails if you want, or you can skip that step. Clamp it and let it dry. Then countersink 4 holes in your bench hook and secure it to the bottom of the larger panel with wood and CA glue. Then throw in your screws. For the 45-degree block, I'm going to show you 2 different options to use depending on what tools you have on hand. Option 1 is if you're using a miter saw. For this option, we're going to cut a 3/4 inch panel to 12 inches by 10 inches. Now take your panel and measure 2 inches in from the back. Make a mark here. Now make a straight cut from that mark to the far opposite corner with your miter saw. For option number 2, we're going to use a guide and circular saw. For this, we're going to start with a 3/4 inch panel that has a width of 10 inches, but for the length, leave the panel long. It doesn't have to be any specific length, but shoot for roughly 18 to 24 inches here. Now take a speed square and place it roughly in the center of your panel with the 45-degree side facing the center. Mark a line here. Then grab a strip of wood that you know has uniform width and straight edges and secure it to this line with either double-sided tape or CA glue and blue painter's tape. Use this as a guide rail to make a 45-degree cut. Take one of those pieces and measure 2 inches back from the edge and make a 90-degree cut with your table saw. Now measure 2 inches from the back of your assembled shooting board and mark a line here. Pre-drill some countersunk holes into your block, apply wood glue and CA glue to the back of your block, and use your speed square as a guide to attach your 45-degree block. So now you have a shooting board that's going to give you dead-on perfect 45-degree miters, which are across the grain of your wood. This is going to be a great tool to have when you're making picture frames, and it's a perfect tool to use when you've made a cut with your power saw and you need to follow it up and make a really fine cut. The thing about your power saws is they're always going to leave marks and burns that need to be sanded out. With this shooting board, paired with a really sharp blade, you're going to make these edges ultra fine, requiring minimal sanding. They're also great for using on smaller parts that would be difficult or dangerous to cut on a power saw. Stick around for this last shooting board because I guarantee it's going to be a jig that's invaluable to you. It's going to come in handy anytime you're making a box, which in woodworking is just about everything. This third jig is the bevel jig. Bevels are an angle that's cut across the thickness of the wood, which is different than a miter. For this jig, you're going to need a 12 by 18 inch larger panel and 12-inch long bench hook again. Go ahead and cut those now. Your smaller panel is going to be slightly different for this one. It's still going to be 10 by 18 inches, but on one of the 18-inch sides, you're going to need to cut a 45-degree bevel. After you cut the panel to 10 by 18 inches, set your table saw at 45 degrees and cut your bevel. Now secure the smaller panel to the larger bottom panel like we did for the last 2 shooting boards, and let that dry. Countersink 4 holes in your bench hook, and then secure it to the bottom of the larger panel using wood, CA glue, and screws. Your final 2 parts for this one are going to be a block with a 45-degree bevel and a track made from 2 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood that also have 45-degree bevels. Cut your block at 10 inches. Your table saw should already be set to 45 degrees, so go ahead and cut a bevel on one end of your block. Secure it with wood, CA glue, and screws. Now go back and grab your 2 pieces of track. Take the first one and add a 45-degree bevel to one edge with your table saw. Then take your second one and do the same thing. Take those 2 pieces and stack one on top of the other. Line up the bevels and join them with wood and CA glue. Then go back to your table saw and cut off the overhang. Then add some screws. If you want to save a headache and not put in your countersinks at an awkward angle like I did, then add your countersunk holes to the top piece before you join them. Now secure this joined piece to your shooting board with the bevel opposite the bevels on your panel and blocks. Secure it with CA and wood glue. Last step is to flip the board over and add some countersunk holes and screws to make sure this piece doesn't move. Add some paste wax to make the runway nice and smooth, and you're all set to use it. I find bevels to be the most difficult cut to make accurately with a power saw, so I'm really excited to add this jig to my shop. If you're going to be making cigar boxes, jewelry boxes, keepsake boxes, basically anything where you want a box with beveled corners, this jig is going to be a staple for you. If you find when you first test it out that your pieces don't quite join up to a 45-degree angle, don't panic. Mine was the same way when I first tested it. It was about a degree off. If this happens, just play around with sanding either the bottom or top portion of your runway, which is going to slightly change the angle that the plane sits at. I did this for about 5 minutes when I was first testing mine out, and it worked like a charm after that. I hope you find these jigs helpful in your shops. I'm definitely excited to start using them and get into some more fine woodworking in my shop. Speaking of fine woodworking, if you don't already have a crosscut sled, you're definitely going to need one. Check out this video next on how to build one. I have plans available in my YouTube store as well if you're interested. Thanks all.